recording.
Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Did I stop it?
No, that's good. Start it.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Well, welcome everybody to our exciting exploration of UX and UI design in the time of AI. Today we'll be diving into the intersection of design, technology, and our creative futures. My name is Avi, and I'm an enrollment rep for NewSchool of Architecture and Design, and Tiziana will be joining me later to speak. And today we'll be looking at what UX and UI design really means in today's world, how AI is reshaping the way we design and interact, and why education and human-centered thinking remain essential in today's industry. Our goal for today is to spark new ideas and inspire the future of design thinking in an AI era. Before we're going to jump into our presentation, we'll be playing a little icebreaker called UX UI, This Is That. And then I will give you a little bit of an introduction to NewSchool, who we are, some educational programs, and excuse me, our design-focused degree that prepares students for creative futures. And then we'll be transitioning in our main focus today, which Professor Tiziana will be walking us through UX and UI design in the time of AI and exploring what UI really means and how artificial intelligence is reshaping the design landscape and why education is still such an important part to still stay ahead in this industry. After that, we'll be wrapping things up with a Q&A. So you'll have time to ask questions about both programs within NewSchool and about UX and UI questions as well from an academic perspective. And I know we have some students here today from NewSchool. If you can give a shout out to the crowd and introduce yourself if you are a current student.
Hi, I'm Psalm, and
Hi.
I am a I'm a freshman, sophomore-ish. But this is my third quarter at NewSchool, and I'm a product design major.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Psalm, and thank you for joining us today. All right, we can get into our icebreaker, except if Angie also wants to introduce herself too, but no pressure.
No pressure.
It's a small group. It's okay. I just wanted to see if you wanted to give yourself a shout out. Okay, so today's icebreaker will be playing a short game of this or that, and I'll show you two in-phrase styles, and you'll pick the one you prefer. You can vote in the poll and raise your hand if you'd like to explain why you chose it. This is a fun part about hearing different design perspective, and it's all about your choice and how the design impacted your user experience. All right, is everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Play. Okay, we're gonna start with the Facebook versus TikTok homepage. Would you prefer? Think about it from a design perspective. Facebook's homepage is more structured, multiple panels, menus, and a mix of different content that heavily relies on your navigation and is information dense. And then TikTok, on the other hand, is simpler, immersive. So you can go ahead and vote which one you lean towards. And I'm seeing TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Awesome. Yeah, I also agree that TikTok wins for me as well too, just because it feels like I'm more immersed in the content. But if anybody else wants to share why they pick TikTok over Facebook, you can go ahead and chime. Oh, someone said no preference too. Awesome.
Wow.
All right, we can go on to the next slide. So next up, Nike versus Alo. These are both popular lifestyle and fitness brands. They take somewhat different approaches to their webpage. Do you prefer Nike's like energetic, product-driven page, or do you prefer Alo's clean lifestyle approach? Yeah. The poll up.
No.
Just give it a second.
It's being slow. I would just type it in the chat. It's still recording votes
Yeah.
from the last one.
Okay, let's just all type it in the chat. What Alo versus Nike. Okay, we all picked Nike, I think. We're still waiting on some. Alo, okay. Why do we prefer Alo over Nike or Nike over Alo? The drama.
Well, I like the fact that Alo is design-wise is a lot more pleasant, in my opinion. Is the layout is pretty similar, and Nike is not. I feel like this interface is not 100% representative because it's like football season kind of thing. Usually they have more products and people using the products, so I really find it more interesting to me to see how the product is used versus, just people doing sports, professional sports.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree that Alo, the brand like you can tell what the brand represents, like lifestyle, everyday, yoga, and then Nike, you don't really, except if you know what Nike's about, then you know what they sell. But if not, if like a random person was like looking at this page, they couldn't really like tell you what Nike sold. So I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the chat said, I have a short attention span. Nike grabs me right away. So that is a addition for Nike. It's more attention grabbing because it uses more colors. So it really depends on like who's like viewing it and the viewer and what attracts the eye to what. But awesome. Thank you everybody for sharing. And I'm going to talk about NewSchool a little bit. So we have a proud history of accreditations that we earn, but I do want to highlight our design programs. In addition to being nationally accredited, in addition to our nationally accredited architecture programs, NewSchool offers innovative design programs in product design, graphic, and interactive media as well. These programs are hands-on and industry-focused, preparing students to enter creative careers with strong foundation in both design skills and professional practice. Whether it's developing products for both functional and whether it's designing products for both functional use or beautifully designed digital and interactive media products. It connects the audience with our creative world, and it's creativity meets real world impact. As a enrollment specialist, my goal is to help guide students through these pathways so you can talk to me about the product design or the graphic and interactive media degrees, and I can walk you through the requirements and the mission steps and how each degree connects together. Together, our program make NewSchool a hub for future architects, designers, and creative leaders who want to make a difference. Now that I've given you an overview of some of NewSchool's programs, we'd like to shift your attention to Professor Tiziana, an adjunct professor here at NewSchool. She brings over 20 years of experience in UX psychology. And Tiziana is going to dive deeper into the world of UX and UI design in this time of AI and share how psychology, design, technology come together to shape a meaningful experience for users. Please join me in welcoming Professor Tiziana. Yay! I'll let you take it over from here, Tiziana.
Tiziana, you're muted, just to give you a heads up.
Coming back to unmute myself. So here we go. All right. So welcome, everyone. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you, Obi, for the introduction. I am Tiziana D'Agostino. I am an assistant professor in the School of Design, but I'm also a consultant. I specialize in design psychology, interaction design. My background is in graphic design, interaction design, web development and design, psychology, behavioral design. But most importantly, I always had a passion for design, and I think our students also share this passion for design. So which direction your design will take you, it doesn't matter as long as you have this passion. And I felt like I always been a designer, even when I was younger. So I'm gonna briefly talk about UX and UI, what is the difference and how they connect to each other. Also, I'm going to mention how AI is changing the field if you are interested in UX and UI. And finally, how NewSchool can help in this kind of challenging time, if you will. So let's start out with UX UI. First of all, I'm pretty sure all of you know, but just in case, UX stands for user experience and UI for user interface. Now, if you look around at different job posting, you will notice that most people or a lot of people put them together. UI, UX, UX, UI, even the one that just say user experience designer, then it says that UI, UX, as if it were exactly the same thing. However, UI and UX are very different from each other. They're very complementary. You need both, but they're not the same thing. When we're talking about user experience, we're talking about the design behind the visual. So everything that happens before a user or a customer actually see your website or whatever your digital devices are, right? So to be a UX designer or professional, the number one skill that is necessary is empathy. You actually have to understand how people are thinking and behaving and feel their pain and trying to solve it. UX designer also help defining the pain points and problems that your customer or prospective customer can have and start ideating some solution. And maybe more importantly, they will prototype and test and then start the process all over again. So user experience is an iterative experience because you want to always make sure that what you design is for the well-being of your customer, your user, and so on. Because it's the design behind the visual, you can be a great UX professional without zero design skills. Obviously, having design skill help, but if you only focus on the UX part, you can actually be really good even without design experience. UI or user interface is whatever visual the user can see on the screen. So what a UI designer usually does, he refine the prototype that he gets from the UX professional. He decide what the visual style, the look and feel may be, may create reusable elements, visual elements that can be used. Ideally also help when passing on the design to the developer, they need to build it by creating annotations so that the developer can actually create what the designer intended. So they're both really important, but they're also very, very different. So and because, like I said, design is helpful but not necessary for UX, Other things that they are pretty much very important for for user experience are ability to do research with people, some ability to understand business strategy, information architecture, interaction design, UX writing, content strategy. So those kind of skills are really, really important. However, a lot of people specialize in one or the other. So they may have a vague idea or broad idea of all of this, but they may specialize in research or interaction design. Other skills that help both a UX and UI designer is the ability to understand people. So psychology, sociology, marketing, obviously ability to design, and curiosity. Because at the end, being curious about the people you design for, the world you live in, will help you be a better designer. So UX is basically how it works, right? So think about it, a blueprint versus UI is what it looks like, right? So it's basically the facade. And they're both necessary because without UX, the UI will dissolve. And without UI, no matter how greatly structured the site is not going to be fun to use and nobody going to use that product. So they both need to work together. But it's very important to understand they're not the same thing. So when you see a job posting that say UX, UI, you have to understand that those are basically two different roles and they require different skills. Now you can have both. My background allow me to do both UX and UI, but you're usually gonna like one more than the other. So it is not. It's kind of a fallacy saying, "Oh, UX UI," as if there was the same thing, because it's not. So when we're talking about UI, we're talking about the interface that you're all used to. Now, probably one of the first popular interfaces that became super famous was obviously the Macintosh in 1984. I know it seems really ancient times, but that was the first time you could actually control a computer, a personal computer, with a visual interface. And now, of course, interface design is moving past the screen and past the computer, sometimes even past the devices like in a phone or a tablet. And this is when we're talking about augmented reality or virtual reality. This is all user interface, even not in the traditional sense, but it's still all considered user interface. So again, UX to UI, not the same, but you need them both. Now, I hope you're excited about UX UI as much as I am, or design in general. But I know there is a big cloud, right? The AI is coming. And I heard from a lot of students, a lot of people, they're really afraid that there are not going to be any jobs for creative minds and AI is going to take over. Well, I don't believe that at all. Because I think that while AI will affect design, in fact, will affect every probably aspect of design, at least at the beginning, I still feel that empathy, iteration, understanding people, curiosity, those specific human skills cannot be replaced by AI, right? This is not going to change. To create a successful product, a successful website, a successful app, you need to understand people. You need to understand what makes them click, literally and metaphorically, right? But AI will help and can make this process a lot better. As long as you consider AI as your collaborator, maybe an intern, someone that can help you make better choices, not somebody who will do the work for you. So some of the things that AI can help you when we're talking about UX UI is, for example, you can have more personalization in the different experiences. Maybe you can customize even more your experience, or AI could even decide what is a good experience for you based on what it knows about you. Obviously, it would allow you to do a much faster research and analysis. This is what AI is really, really good at, finding kind of common points in big volume of data. It can help you doing rapid prototyping and testing. That means you can get the customer involved much earlier and test your prototype because AI help you create it really quickly. And also, voice and gesture integration can be a vital part of any kind of digital experience. And not just because it's kind of fun to, talk to your screen or to your devices, but also because it's a very big step forward for accessibility. Being able to, instead of having to use a screen reader or something like that, but you're actually able to tell commands and the interface understand you, it could make a much better experience for a much larger group of people. So a few ways in which AI can help specifically in UX and UI. For UX research, it can help you gather academic papers and even make a summary of it. After an interview, a series of interview, AI can help you to kind of summarize what you learned. It can help you create a question for your interview, for your user. It can help you measure the responses based on a user testing. And, even when you have summary with your, boss or with your colleague, it can help you create summaries. As far as the design part, not specific to research, UX design can benefit from AI because AI can help create something called assumed persona, which is basically is what you think your customer are like. Now, this is something that's done very early in the process, preliminary. You should always interview your real customer, but if it's a brand new product, you may not know exactly who they are. So that will give you kind of a starting point. It can help you to go from sketches, even paper sketches, to prototype. It may give you ideas on how to improve your copy, your text. It will help you to audit an existing website, for example, maybe even a roadmap to create an app. And as far as UI design is concerned, one thing you probably heard a lot lately is vibe coding. What vibe coding simply means is like you upload a picture of an interface and then AI will code it for you. Now, it can be done well or badly, but this is something you could do to show the developer and say, hey, this is exactly what I would like it to look like. It can help you do mood boards and wireframe to design. It can help you do some automated accessibility tests, and it would help you create documentation. But keep in mind that even though AI can do a lot of things, there are a lot of other things it cannot do. AI cannot feel empathy. No matter what kind of words you put, no matter how much you try to let you believe that is empathic, AI is a machine and is not really empathic. It's not able to create something really innovative because it simply recombines things that exist already. Obviously, it has no ethical principles because none was given it to it. It could have, but nobody gave ethical principle or values to AI. And obviously you can have AI is a machine, as data, so it can't really have physical sensation, definitely no critical thinking, and definitely no craftsmanship like handmade. And even something like imperfection, flexibility, adaptability, they may seem like they're not really good things sometimes. They may be what really moves somebody emotionally, just to recognize that human element. And then, of course, we're missing that we need the real human touch, again, both metaphorically, but also physically. And so far, AI really cannot do any of this. Plus, AI is not really that intelligent. That's why I hate calling it AI, because it's really not that intelligent. It's full of biases. So AI reflects the biases of all its training data, which usually skew towards Western, rich, educated society. It hallucinates. So because AI has one of its goals, making you happy, that means it will come up with things even if they don't exist, right? It will hallucinate, it will create sources that don't exist. It will reinforce your biases or your views because it's trying to make you happy. Obviously, copyright issue is a big issue because AI was trained on copyright work, both like art and literature and all sort of other things without any permission. And finally, the environment. AI is using a huge amount of resources, including energy and water, and not just for the training of the model, but every time you use it. So this is why it's so important to be able to recognize what AI can do, what AI cannot do, and what AI should not do. So it's very hard to keep track of everything's going on. if you make a really quick Google search, like I did this afternoon, a really quick Google search about AI and hype, you're going to find opposite opinion. So you're going to find someone say, oh, AI is just a bubble, it's about to burst. Somebody else will say, oh, no, we are way beyond hype. Somebody else will say artificial intelligence is everything we need. So there are a lot of conflicting information out there, and things are changing extremely fast. So every day there are new information. So how do you keep up? You obviously gonna need to understand AI, because the job of the future, as in from today to the future, require that you understand AI. But how can you keep up? There's so much information. How do you know what's good and what's not good? So this is where we come in. This is where college, any school, but especially New School of Architecture and Design, that's where we can help you, because we go through all this information. We make sure that we separate the hype from the reality, and we make sure that we provide to you, a student, the newest information, the more helpful information. And of course, the other way we can help you at New School is by seamlessly integrating AI in the program. What does that mean? Well, that means that a lot of upper division classes incorporate AI tools in the curriculum. And definitely I can speak for the classes I teach in interaction design, where AI is a part of the curriculum. We actually working with AI, we learn how AI, what kind of tools there are and so on. But is also where we learn about critical thinking and how to realize when AI is providing value and when AI is not providing value. We also talk about all the possible harms, all the possible risk of over reliance of AI. You may have heard there was a really recent MIT paper that actually noticed that people that use ChatGPT to create a paper remember a lot less, and their brain was not atrophied, but there were fewer area in their brain that would line up. So there was fewer elements of critical thinking. So that's why at New School, when we talk about AI, it's not just like, okay, here's a tool, use it, but we using critical thinking. We discuss about the result. We look at what happened and if it is better or worse. And students are encouraged to explore and experiment. Like I said, there are new things coming up every day. I can't keep track of every single tool. So students, part of the assignment and also hopefully their curiosity, will explore and experiment. They're not going to be stopped from it. And they're encouraged to find new tools and share it with the rest of the classmates. However, we also talk about AI ethics, because AI ethics is crucial. And we're talking about any kind of harms or any kind of possible ethical violation that may happen, and how to use AI ethically, which is definitely possible. And finally, at New School, AI is not forbidden, it's not banished. But cheating is, like in any other college. And I promise you, you can find out if somebody's cheating most of the time. At least in my classes, there are more practical application. I'm not talking about like literature or something like that. But in a design class, it is pretty obvious when a student uses AI without acknowledging it. So at New School, you can use AI if appropriate and if obviously your instructor allow you to, but you also need to document your whole process. And that would not only show me that you know how to use the tool, but it also will help you make a judgment about, okay, did AI create something worthwhile? Made me waste more time. And believe it or not, sometimes it happens and students say, well, I was actually better and faster doing it myself instead of using AI. Okay, and I want to conclude with just two student projects that we did using AI, which was really fun. People that know me, that know I always talk about this project because I love it. But so this project was done in collaboration with AI. So the creative thinking of the student plus the power of AI. And the assignment was to find a solution to some kind of problem that senior citizen may experience, And so this student decided to tackle loneliness especially for low-income seniors. And he devised this membership service that will be like a big bus that will pick up seniors, bring them to some beautiful natural place. And then senior could like socialize in there, and they could maybe drink tea or coffee. But at the same time, it would also be staffed by people very expert in technology. So they could teach either small technology classes, or they could help seniors to actually come up with their problems and solve their problems. So this is a perfect example of AI enhancing student creativity and not doing all the work for them. And the other example is not as visually cool, but it's actually really fun. And you can try it out if you want to, because that is actually available publicly. So the student created their own personal GPT. So you're all familiar probably with ChatGPT. You're also allowed to create your own version of it that will use ChatGPT, but it will have special instruction. So this student created GPT called Generational Translator, which is available on OpenAI, ChatGPT. So you can kind of go find it. And so basically created GPT that will translate slang or lingo through different generation. So for example, the example we did, it was like, okay, how can you translate, this was an amazing experience, my friend, with using the language of different generation. So what the translator is, and you can tell me how right or wrong it is. I'm obviously not a millennial or a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha. So, but as a millennial, say that was seriously awesome, dude, totally unforgettable. According to this GPT, Gen Z would say, bro, that was next level, like insane vibes, FR. And my son is Gen Z, and honestly, he does speak like that. And Gen Alpha would say, yo, that was wild. Best time ever, no cap, with a bunch of emoji. And then I asked him to do it for Gen X and Boomers generation as well. And so they translate it as, man, that was seriously cool. Totally one for the books for Gen X, and for Boomers. That was truly wonderful experience, my friend. I remember it for a long time. So again, obviously doesn't have a huge amount of value, but it is really fun, and it gives the chance to kind of see behind beside the code and beside all the hype, how it works and how you do it. So I'd encourage you everyone to go check it out. It's really funny. So at least maybe it's funny for me, but so, and with that, I want to thank you for your attention. And I want to see if there is any question and answer. I try to leave time so that you can ask me a question, and I'm conscious of your time, so I don't want you to stay here for hours and hours. So, but any question you have for UX, UI, AI, the program at NewSchool, anything like that, this is the time. And this is my email is tdagostino@newschoolarch.edu. And I'm not going to try to read Obi's last name because I know I will not pronounce it correctly. You can see it right there.
Thank you for your presentation.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
It was very lovely. Again, my email is above Tiziana. And if you have any...
Obi, you're muted. See, I do that all the time.
Can you guys hear me?
I can. Yep, I still can hear you.
Okay. If you guys have any moment questions, email is in the chat. Also, Tiziana's email is also in the chat. If you have questions about like AI, UX, UI design, she is a very knowledgeable person to go to. Enrollment questions about what products, what programs we do offer at NewSchool. We just don't offer design programs. Our design programs are graphic design and interactive media, and also product design. Tiziana takes on graphic design, and Victor takes on product design. And so you can relate questions you have to them. And for any enrollment questions, that goes to me. I thought I saw someone typing, but I am not sure. If you guys also want to unmute yourself and ask questions. If not, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Tiziana, for And yeah, Izzy for mediating the chat and doing the polls. And we appreciate you.
Sam is typing something.
Sam is still
See?
typing.
See,
Sorry.
that's a curse of like technology because
I was-
before you
Right,
didn't
that
know.
is Sam, just to mute yourself.
I was gonna ask, will AI leave room for junior designers, specifically for like product and industrial designers?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a really, really good question. Um, I honestly think so. Obviously, I don't have, a magic, I can't look in the future, but I think product designer, particularly, I feel that there is a lot of need of innovative ideas um, and concept. And I don't think AI at this point, at least, can come up with it. It's like, yeah, you can recombine stuff, but even now, you already look around, there's so much AI generated stuff, it gets so bland and boring. And you start recognizing that AI look, right? And it's like, oh, wow, this is really, that's not that great. So I personally think that, the human creativity and innovation, it will be something that it will be really, really important. It will be changing a little bit the different roles. So, and one thing that I hope that is still existing in 10 years ahead is apprenticeship. So being able to be an apprentice in, kind of like an internship, but more hands-on for product design. Because I don't think nothing else will really replace that. And that knowledge is crucial. And I think, AI, in my opinion, is more helpful to people that already have the basic. If you don't know your basic and you just trust AI, you have no idea what you're doing. And you're not going to have a good product. So that's what I believe. But maybe Victor have a better perspective because it's more of a product design. But
Um, honestly, I think you're spot on, Tiziana. It hits the right points. Salma, I can chat with you more on it tomorrow if you wish, and I can go further in depth.
mhm. So
Okay.
great question. Yeah. Yeah. And I know a lot of students are worried about that. A lot of everybody's worried about that, honestly. Um, but remember, like everything else, like the big hype, at some point it goes down and it stays on a level that's realistic. And even though I don't know if this is a bubble or not, I am pretty convinced that right now there is a way too much hype compared to the results that we get right now. So we will get to a balancing at some point. So AI is here to stay, but I think there will be some kind of rebalancing, in my opinion. Any more questions you guys have? Dun, dun.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, you guys will each receive just more information about our programs within NewSchool. But if you do have any questions, you can either reach out to Tatiana, me, or Victor.
Yeah, and make sure you either screenshot the. I can put the emails up again, or you can screenshot the chat where our emails are there.
Izzy
So
put in the chat.
yeah, so
Yeah. Izzy, do you have anything else to add, or do you want to jump in about anything?
No, I mean, I
happy
think
Wednesday.
happy Wednesday. Thank you all so much for joining us. I mean, I learned a lot. I knew about UX. I did not know about UI. So this is really interesting for me. I was kind of thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm the one that's like working behind the scenes here, and then you guys are like the face of it.
So we are the UI and you are
Yes.
the UX.
A little bit of
Yes.
example there.
That's
But
true.
thanks so
That's
much for
totally true.
joining us, and I look forward to the next stages of this. I know this is the first iteration of a series that we're going to keep doing. So if you guys all enjoyed this one, just stay tuned because we're going to start putting out more across different industries with different speakers. So I think this was wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you all. I hope you have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone. Oh, where's my leaf? Ooh.